9392. The prescribed visibility criteria of RVR 32 toward the runway of intended operation is not reported. What minimum ground visibility may be used instead of the RVR value? A. 3/8 sm. B. 5/8 sm. C. 3/4 sm. The correct answer is B. When the runway visual range, RVR, is not reported for the runway of intended operation, the minimum ground visibility that can be used as an alternative is 5/8 sm, statute miles. This is specified by the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, as the minimum visibility requirement when RVR is unavailable. It serves as a substitute to assess the visibility conditions for determining if the runway is suitable for operations. 9393. The visibility criteria for a particular instrument approach procedure is RVR 40. What minimum ground visibility may be substituted for the RVR value? A. 5/8 sm. B. 3/4 sm. C. 7/B sm. The correct answer is B. If the RVR value of 40 is not reported or available, a pilot can use a minimum ground visibility of 3/4 sm as a substitute. This visibility requirement serves as an alternative when the RVR value cannot be determined. It is important for pilots to adhere to the appropriate visibility criteria to ensure safe operations during instrument approaches and landings. 9384. Under which condition, if any, may a pilot descend below DH or MDA when using the ALSF-1 approach light system as the primary visual reference for the intended runway? A. Under no condition can the approach light system serve as a necessary visual reference for descent below DH or MDA. B. Descent to the intended runway is authorized as long as any portion of the approach light system can be seen. C. The approach light system can be used as a visual reference, except that descent below 100. The correct answer is C. Feet above TDZE requires that the red light bars be visible and identifiable. A pilot may use the approach light system as their only visual aid as they descend below the MDA or DH. However, unless the red side row bars are also clearly discernible and recognizable, the pilot may not descend below 100 feet above touchdown zone elevation, TDZE, while using the approach lights as a guide. 9368. When must the pilot initiate a missed approach procedure from an ILS approach? A. At the DA/DH when the runway is not clearly visible. B. When the time has expired after reaching the DA/DH and the runway environment is not clearly visible. C. At the DA/DH, if the visual references for the intended runway are not distinctly visible or any time thereafter that visual reference is lost. The correct answer is C. During an instrument landing system (ILS) approach, the decision altitude (DA) or decision height (DH) is the point at which the pilot must make a decision to either continue the approach or initiate a missed approach. If, at the DA/DH, the pilot does not have the required visual references for the intended runway, or if those visual references are lost at any point after the DA/DH, the pilot must initiate a missed approach procedure. It's important for pilots to follow the specific procedures and criteria outlined in the approach plate for the particular ILS approach they are conducting. These procedures may vary depending on the aircraft, operator, and applicable regulations. Therefore, pilots should always refer to the current charts, approach plates, and regulations for the most accurate and up-to-date guidance. 9382. Assuming that all ILS components are operating and the required visual references are not acquired, the missed approach should be initiated upon A. Arrival at the DH on the glide slope. B. Arrival at the visual descent point. C. Expiration of the time listed on the approach chart for missed approach. The correct answer is A. When flying an ILS approach, the DH is the specified altitude at which a decision must be made whether to continue the approach or initiate a missed approach. If, upon reaching the DH on the glide slope, the required visual references are not acquired, the pilot should promptly initiate the missed approach procedure as prescribed in the approach chart. The DH serves as a critical point in determining whether the necessary visual references are available to safely continue the approach or if a missed approach is required.